On the road to Macstock with Jeff Gamet. This is MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by Kolide. Kolide ensures only secure devices can access your cloud apps. It's zero trust, tailor-made for Okta. Book a demo today at kolide.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we talked to Mike Potter to kick off our Road to Macstock series, something I look forward to every year. Mike said he does too, so that's great. We have at least one that also enjoys these. But I also enjoy talking to our next guest, who will be a presenter at Macstock this time for the first time in quite a few years, Mr. Jeff Gamet. Jeff, welcome. It's great to see you, and it'll be great to have you back at Macstock.
Chuck, it's going to just be awesome all the way around. I mean, first off, I'm always excited to have the opportunity to just hang out and chat with you. So thanks for doing this. And then knowing that we get to hang out together in person at Macstock, I'm really, really looking forward to that. This will be like a family reunion. There'll be a lot of us there that at least I haven't seen in several years, just because conferences came and went, and then conferences didn't happen, and so this is going to be a lot of fun.
Listen, it always is. I know you haven't been there for a number of years. I missed it last year. I guess technically I missed it the last 2 years. The one was virtual Macstock, where the audience was extremely limited. And last year, I ended up testing positive for COVID on that particular weekend before, a couple of days before, which really bummed me out. So it's going to be a return for me, and I'm looking forward to seeing so many of our friends. And I hope that we add some new friends by doing the Road to Macstock series and getting them to come to Woodstock and join us, because it's going to be a great weekend.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I've missed being at Macstock. It's felt to me like a family reunion in a good way every time I've been there. But then it's also just like this thing where it's just full of so much useful information. And then there's the social part of it as well. So you show up, you get re-energized because you're hanging out with friends and making new friends, and you get to learn cool things and just have a really good time.
That's an interesting phrase that you use, re-energize, because that's the way I feel when I go to a number of different conferences, Macstock, right along with it. You know, that you're there talking about things that are interesting to you, but you're also finding out about new things that maybe you haven't explored or want to explore and didn't get around to, or that just came at you out of left field. And it's like, hey, I can use that. Plus the fact, as you said, that, you're hanging out with friends, and that always feels good. So we can't wait. We can't wait.
Yeah, I'd say it can't come soon enough. But at the same time, I need time to make sure I have my presentation together and right. So I don't want it to come too fast.
Yeah, well, time flies when you're having fun.
Even when you're trying to put together a prezzo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of why we're here. We want to give the folks that are thinking about coming to Macstock or that are coming an idea of what they're going to hear. And so I always make a point of saying, we're not asking the guests to do the presentation here, but more to give you, a short synopsis of what they're going to be talking about and why they picked their topic. So, Jeff, what are you going to talk about, and why'd you pick the topic?
Well, I'm going to answer in reverse order. Why I picked my topic. My topic, it's all about the whole digital audio thing and high-res audio, and wrapping our heads around that, because there's a lot that goes on with that. And I don't think Apple has done a great job of making it clear what we can and can't do with these higher quality audio files. The reason I'm doing this is because Mike Potter told me the theme for this year is learn. And so I thought, well, why not help people learn something that will be useful, hopefully, but is also a passion of mine. And that's why I'm doing the whole high-res digital audio thing.
Jeff, I don't know this about you. Do you play an instrument at all?
I do.
What do you
Yeah.
play?
I play trumpet. And long ago, so please don't ask me to play now because there's no way it would work. I did play piano a long time ago, but like no, I wouldn't consider myself a piano player at all anymore. More like someone that understands piano theory.
Well, I ask because you frequently talk about music with the enthusiasm that a lot of times I associate with musicians, but also it seems like so many of our friends in the community play something. And so that's why I wasn't sure. And so you're just an enthusiastic consumer of music, which fits my description pretty well too.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah. The whole thing with a lot of us playing musical instruments, not a surprise to me at all. The Apple community has always been a draw for creative people, and so that's I feel like we see so many musicians in the Apple community. That's why we have so many artists of all different types of art in the community, the video producers, just writers, whatever. If you're a creative person, it just seems like a community that you're drawn to. And so here we are.
Which is a good thing because that gives the rest of us who don't have artistic or musical talents a whole lot to enjoy. So thank you from those of us who can't do it or don't do it to those of you who do.
Yeah. I'm going to share something with you that I know you don't know because you didn't know that I had a history as a musician as well. So you'll love this. So my trumpet training, I was trained as a classical musician who then started playing jazz, and it's amazing how well those two fit together.
I am not, this is not a smart comment. I did not know there was such a thing as classical trumpet.
Well, okay. Don't think of it as not a smart comment. Think of it as you're learning about something you hadn't been exposed to before. And there's a difference. So, there's a lot of classical music that does include trumpet. And if you're not familiar with the different instruments that you can have for different orchestral arrangements, and you don't have an ear for picking out the different instruments you're hearing, why would you ever think you're listening to a trumpet or a French horn or a violin or a bassoon or whatever it is? What why? You're just
Mm.
hearing the music and you can appreciate the music, and you don't need to know what a specific instrument is. You just need to know you're enjoying what it is that you hear. And honestly, I think that's good enough.
Um, yeah, and I guess I just revealed a little bit of my own bias in thinking of classical music as principally strings with maybe a few horns, some flutes, harps, that kind of thing. And
Hmm.
so never really thought about the fact that some of those other, again, I would probably associate trumpet more with jazz, but some of those other instruments would have a place in that world. So I did learn something.
Awesome. Well, it's been great being here today. And
Yeah,
wait,
yeah, yeah.
I thought we were done as soon as we learned one thing.
No, I think we need to get back on track. I'm afraid I took us off, and I apologize. Um, but you were telling us why you picked your topic and what you're going to talk about.
Oh, right. So I didn't tell you what I'm talking about. All right. So first off, without going into details, because hey, spoilers! I want to save stuff for everyone when they show up at the event. Um, There's a lot that goes into the technology in the music and just understanding the files that you're creating. Like, when you look at photographs, um, a JPEG versus a RAW file, and what's the resolution of the camera that you use to shoot the image, and all of those sorts of things, that applies to music as well, and music recording. So we're going to talk about things that relate to the digital quality, the resolution, if you will, of the audio files. Where do you find limitations with playing music? Um, where do you need to look to get the best audio quality for the files that you have? And what is it that actually constitutes a high quality sounding file to you? Um, so we'll dive into all of that, and we're going to talk about things like where do you find these files? I mean, sure, we know that Apple offers some, and there's other places that do too. So where are those, and can you even play them on your iPhone or your iPad or your Mac? Yeah, so we'll dive into all of that stuff. We'll talk some about hardware that can enhance your audio experience, why you may or may not want to use wired or wireless headphones. I mean, there's so many things. And as I'm rattling off all these things that we were talking about, I'm thinking maybe I need to talk to Mike and tell him that I need more time for my presentation. How am I going to fit all of this in?
This edition of MacVoices is supported by Kolide at kolide.com/MacVoices. Our sponsor Kolide has some big news. If you're an Okta user, they can get your entire fleet to 100% compliance. How? If a device isn't compliant, the user can't log into your cloud apps until they fix the problem. It's that simple. Kolide patches one of the major holes in zero trust architecture, device compliance. Without Kolide, IT struggles to solve basic problems like keeping everyone's OS and browser up to date. Unsecure devices are logging into your company's apps because there's nothing there to stop them. Kolide is the only device trust solution that enforces compliance as part of authentication, and it's built to work seamlessly with Okta. The moment Kolide's agent detects a problem, it alerts the user and gives them instructions to fix it. If they don't fix the problem within a set time, they're blocked. Kolide's method means fewer support tickets, less frustration, and most importantly, 100% fleet compliance. Visit kolide.com/MacVoices to learn more or book a demo. That's Kolide, KOLIDE.com/MacVoices. Kolide.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Kolide for their support of MacVoices. You know, I in listening to you talk about it, it's like, yeah, there's that part, and then there's that part. Then, yeah, he's right. There's that part over there. So, yeah, there's potentially a lot here, as opposed to just opening the music app on your Mac or your iPhone and hitting play.
Right. I mean, it can be that simple, but are you going to hear any difference in the audio files that you're playing? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. Some of it depends on you. Some of it depends on the music, your headphones. Yeah. So it can be really complicated, but I'm going to do my best to make sure it isn't.
So give me this much information about, let's see, not necessarily what you're going to be showing, but what is your personal music setup? What is the gear that you typically listen to your music on?
Let's go with my desktop setup,
Okay.
since I spend a lot of time at my desk. All right. So I want to make sure that I'm getting the best quality audio out of the setup that I have at my desk. So the speakers that I use are Audioengine A5. And as I look behind you, I see Audioengine A5 speakers.
You do.
And then I'm using a Schiit Modi 3 Plus DAC, so that's digital to analog converter. And what that does is it takes the digital audio files that I'm playing, and instead of letting my Mac process that audio back from bits into sound, I'm letting this external box do that for me, because it has a processor that's designed to do this uh, better subjectively better than what's built into my Mac. So I can potentially have better sounding audio for the files that I'm playing, and then for the apps that I use a wide range of apps for playing my music. I'm using Apple Music, of course, for a lot of things, but um, sometimes maybe I'm listening to music that's on my Plex server, so I'll just be using Plex to do that. Or I'll have some really weird audio files, and when I say weird, I mean like some esoteric format that the music app doesn't recognize. Okay, so maybe I'm using VLC Player or something else to play that, and then just other streaming apps too. So it just depends on what I'm listening to, what app I'll use. But the hardware setup at my desk is pretty consistent. And then I have different setup for my mobile high-end audio listening.
I'm restraining myself. There's so many questions I want to ask about what you just asked, but I'm going to wait and save it and listen to your Macstock presentation. The one thing I will say is that I bet some ears perked up when they heard that you use VLC to listen to audio files, because most of us think of VLC as a very competent, very wide ranging in terms of support for video files. So the fact that you use it for audio files is very interesting, and I hope we hear more about that.
Well, I guess now that I brought it up, I'm kind of committed, aren't I?
Yeah, make a note, please.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'll be throwing questions at you from the audience saying, hey, Jeff, what about that VLC thing?
Which is totally fine. You know what? Maybe I'll just rely on you to be my memory for this.
Please don't
no
rely
pressure,
on me.
Chuck.
No, don't rely on me. You're in real trouble.
Honestly, my expectation is that that I'm going to get to have a lot of really interesting audio discussions with people over the course of the weekend, simply because everyone has an idea about what it is that they want out of their music listening experience, and people get really passionate about this. And so I'm looking forward to hearing what it is that people are using in their own setups, and sharing tips and ideas, which is another thing that I love about Macstock. It's an intimate enough event that if you go to a presentation, the likelihood that you'll be able to get some time to talk with the presenter at some point throughout the weekend is pretty high.
Agreed. And every presenter is completely approachable. I mean, there's nobody that, pulls up in a limo, gets out, gives their presentation, then drives away.
You don't have that limo anymore?
Well, thank you.
I mean, that was always the thing. You'd pull up and they'd roll out the red carpet, and then there's the rose petals being thrown out, and you step out with your big purple furry coat with a big fuzzy white collar, and swinging your gold chain, and you'd walk in, you do your presentation, drop a microphone, and walk out, and we're like, whoa, Chuck Joyner.
Yeah. Jeff is on drugs again. But no, that's the beauty of it. Not only are they approachable, but they're there for the whole weekend. So whether it's at lunch one day, lunch the next day, in the halls, between sessions, or at the events in the evening, or just the social get-togethers that happen informally in the evening, everybody is so open to talking more about their topics or about your topic or anything else that came up. It's just it's hard to explain to folks that haven't been to Macstock just how open and welcoming It is. And it's such a great place to get so much information. I feel like I need to carry a notebook around all the time to make sure I don't lose anything from those conversations.
That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
Bring something so you can take notes, because there's going to be at least one presentation where someone's talking about something that really, really matters to you. And when they say that thing that makes the entire trip worthwhile, you don't want to forget it. So have something so you can take notes in some form.
And that's another good point. You're just full of them, Jeff. That, even if if there's only one or two topics you think will be interesting, I promise you that there'll be some that surprise you and that you'll want to write down, learn from, go back and look something up, try something that somebody brought up. It just always works that way. It never fails. So Macstock is at the end of July. I can never remember the dates, but I will have them in the show notes.
I think it's the 22nd and 23rd.
Is it 22nd, 23rd? So
maybe
if you want to look.
22nd and 23rd. I've got your back, Chuck.
Great. 22nd and 23rd, Woodstock, Illinois. Visit MacstockConferenceandExpo.com. I'll have links in the show notes, obviously, to get you there. Sign up. Come and listen to Jeff talk about music and audio and all that stuff. Come and listen to all the other terrific presenters that you're going to hear on the road to Macstock. Or just come for the fun, because that's the other thing. It's just a weekend of fun.
Mm-hmm. It is. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there.
Yeah, definitely. Jeff, for the folks who want to follow you on the road to Macstock, on the way before they get there, where can they find you on social media?
I'm Jay Gamet on basically everything. The places where I'm active right now, that would be Mastodon and Instagram. So I'd say go there. Find me there.
Perfect. I'll see you at Macstock. If not, well, I'll see you before that on other MacVoices shows, but I'll definitely see you at Macstock.
Chuck, I am so looking forward to seeing you in person again at Macstock.
Yeah. We both have changed since the last time.
Yeah. And I'd like to think that you changed for the better. So at least you have that going for you.
I'd like to think we both changed for the better, but
I hope so.
Sure. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. We will have more on the road to Macstock. But again, MacstockConferenceandExpo.com. Come and join me. Come and join Jeff. We're going to have a ball with all our friends. We count you among them. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.